we are live, I believe. Are we? Can someone
I
confirm that? Good morning.
I can't confirm. Wait, I can. I might confirm. I
Oh,
might. It's hard when there's no intro music. We must have intro music. I
we
demand.
must. You can
We are
demand
live.
it, but
We are live.
we're live. Oh, Jennifer's just popped out to confirm it. We're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is the Rebellious Business Show. My name's Cordelia. Getting out of breath really easily. Can't even finish a sentence without running out of air. And this here
Okay.
is the wonderful Caroline. Good morning, Caroline.
Morning.
How is thou? How art thou?
I don't know. I'm about to sneeze, and I think it's just because we've
Oh.
got live because I've been fine all morning. I think I've got some sort of like psychological barrier. And
Oh.
I reckon it's a block.
Psychological sneeze barrier. I've just realised as well, my microphone is currently AirPods. Is it awful? So
No,
I switched to computer. Is it all right?
it's no, it's fine.
To do it, just bear with, guys. We're just doing sound check live on air. Uh, but yeah, cool beans. Well, we have another fun show in store for you. Disclaimer: it is half term. All my kids are home. It is absolutely bonkers here, and they might make noises in the background. And if they do, well, this is real life. This is real life, kids. That's what it's like. But yeah, so
The kids will be fighting.
yeah, yeah.
You'll
It's
get
utter
Braxton
carnage.
Hicks.
Me having Braxton Hicks.
Yeah, you'll get
So what you
Braxton
said.
Hicks. Yeah.
I've been getting so many Braxton Hicks. It's ridiculous.
Have you? I don't, I mean, I
Yeah.
can't have no experience with this, and I don't really know if I thought it was like my understanding of Braxton Hicks is like basically like fake labor, but it's like serious, like not serious, but big deal, like it's like you think you're actually in,
No,
you
it's Braxton Hicks is where your stomach goes rock hard for about
oh,
a minute and then
is that
it
not a
stops.
contraction
Yeah, exactly. It's after about a minute.
that
But
people
it's not fake labor. You're not dramatic. It's not like, oh my God, I'm in labor. Like, in
you're
so much
not?
pain. Uh,
You could keep going through like a tornado.
Sometimes you're walking down the street and I get a Braxton Hicks and I all of a sudden it's like my hips are full of concrete and I have to kind of like slow down and waddle a little bit slower. Um, but yeah, anyway, fun times. So we have got a good lineup of questions for today. What we're doing live on this show is we are answering your questions, dilemmas, we are debating your stories, your problems, anything you want to share with us could possibly get picked to be discussed live here on this show. So we have selected our questions today. One of them is extremely, extremely juicy. So we might take a bit longer on that. We'll see how we go. But that's what we're doing. And we would love you to get involved. There is a link in the description of this podcast that you can click on, and that will take you to our Spill It page where you can put things in there that you want me and Caroline to spill the beans on. It can be business related, can be personal, can be really bloody awkward, can be whatever you want it to be. Just get creative and drop some things in there that you'd like us to talk about. And we've been getting some really great entries. So thank you to everybody that has dropped things in there. It's really fun to see
Do
what you are wanting us to talk about.
you know what's actually a really fun idea? I mean, we haven't organized this, but I just remembered something that my friend did. My friend
Mm.
on my friend Lauren, she has this thing. She's got quite a big following, and she does this thing like spill the tea. And so she gets her followers to send embarrassing stories of themselves that she shares anonymously.
As Rihanna would put it.
It's
But there we
something
go.
and she'd go, oh, she would have proper scoffed at that.
Who would have?
Laugh. We've got a laugh from Mark Lyons and then a comment from Mark Lyons. Oh, juicy sounds entertaining. Okay, cool. We've got a comment.
There
Love
we
that.
go. So,
Happy with
Caroline, I'm going to give you question one, question two, question three. I want you to pick one, and then that's the one we're going to start with.
all right. Question two. Do I have does
Question
it
two.
okay.
Okay. Question two is from Bolt. Um, I've been getting delayed. I don't think it's you who's Usain Bolt if he's been getting delayed. Just to say that's the first first line is you say this is definitely not from Usain Bolt. I've been getting delayed with projects because it takes me too long to recover from damage caused by the part-time job. where I deal with people, dare I say, idiots, and it's exhausting. I'm ADHD, so it's a nightmare for this. Oh, he said AUDHD, but do you reckon it's ADHD? There isn't an
Yeah,
AUDHD, is there?
autistic ADHD.
Okay, yeah, okay. Um, it's not too bad because the recovery is good. I try time blocking, it fails because of chaotic house and child who just wants his older brother. Any advice? It's draining, to be honest. Well, we can cover two bases here. Like Caroline, from the kind of your perspective on like neurodivergence and my perspective on having a crazy household full of children and trying to work with all that chaos going on. And probably undiagnosed neurodivergence as well, to be honest. But
Yeah,
there we
yeah.
go.
I
Yeah.
see actually. So I don't really, I don't really talk about my diagnosis. I was diagnosed with ADHD, and I won't go into that. We can maybe talk about that's a good topic for another day. Diagnosed with ADHD, and I know it is a nightmare. It's a nightmare, and but I feel like it manifests differently for different people. But the main thing is like
Mm.
focus. I think, Lord, okay. Well, the question was
I think
about being drained after dealing with people slash idiots, and I don't think there's any solution to that, quite honestly. Idiots are draining.
But I do think it's to do with hat switching, isn't it? Because that sounds a little bit like you're switching between Big Brother
Mm,
hat, working hat, business hat. And I have to say, I've found that really, really challenging,
mm,
especially in the lockdowns, for instance, when I was running the business with all three children at home and they were small. I remember there was one time where I had the Rebellious Business Show, we were live. Um, and I had to get the rebels to take over for me because I had a situation, and the situation was I'd taken the door handles off of my bedroom door so no one could get into my room, right?
I
But
love
I'd
it.
left the bit I needed on the other side of the door. And also, and also the charger for the laptop was downstairs and the laptop was about to die. So I had to put myself on mute. I think I handed over to like Nicola Howard to like babysit the call or something. And I like ran to the door and I shouted through the door to the kids and I had to tell them to go in the kitchen, go in the cutlery drawer, get a butter knife out of the cutlery drawer, bring it upstairs, slide it under the door to me. Like even that was a blimmin' that I mean
Would
that
they
took
have been? They would have been young, man.
they were young,
They don't play with
2020.
knives when they're young.
No, that's why I said butter knife, darling.
Yeah.
It was a blimmin' butter knife. It wasn't a blimmin'. But yeah, so I like, where is it, mum? What do you want? Like, back and forth. Like, bloody hell, what an operation to get them to do that. Butter knife comes under the door. I managed to open it, run downstairs, get the charger, come back upstairs, remember to bring the butter knife back in and the bit I needed for the door just in case. Shut the door, plug it in, back in front of the laptop. Hey guys, how's it going? What have you been talking about?
None the wiser. Yeah,
None
that's
the wiser.
yeah.
But yeah, so I know what it's like to be in that kind of chaos, and it's hard. Like this week, I feel upside down. It's not. I don't think necessarily there's a way to remove the discomfort you feel when you're juggling so many balls and wearing so many different hats at the same time. I think it's about embracing the chaos as
It's
well.
it's kind of like a life question though, isn't it? It's like how do you cope with the
Mm.
life you've got? I think that's what it boils down to. Um, and the best thing I know is mindset work, as cheesy as that is. Like the best thing you can give yourself is like mental health. And like that's really unfair for me to say because I know that like it's just not everyone can give them that to themselves, and that feels like I feel like even saying that gave me like a pang of guilt because I'm like, what an exclusive thing to say. I do think sometimes like mental health is really for like the genetically
What do you
superior.
mean by mental health, though? Because when I hear the word mental health, I just think like category of something. Give yourself mental health. What does that mean? Oh, that a healthy mind. Like,
Yeah, like the like because it's all you're always gonna have shit hit the fan. I think my
mhm.
experience, shit always hits the fan, always. never, constantly, forever and ever. And sometimes there's two fans, and he's like, "What the fuck?" Like, sorry, but how do you? So you can't stop that. You have to,
No.
you have to just deal with it. And I mean, this is all very like cliche stuff, but the only advice I can give is work on your sanity and give yourself a sense of stability so that you just approach every situation with curiosity. I'm hating myself for saying all this.
I have a couple of practical things though, if it's
Yeah.
helpful,
Yeah.
that I'd love to share. I think one thing that's worked really well for me is having some dividers in my life. So,
Yeah. 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 Let's do
for
that.
instance, I will very clearly, like, I will very make it very strict. Unless I have to, I'm not working when the kids are home.
Yeah. That's
Now,
good.
sometimes that changes. Like, my childcare went all out the window this week. The kids are just home all week. Can't stop working. Got lots of things that need doing. We're going to get behind. It's going to cause issues in the business. Just got to carry on. But having those clear dividers is still there and still a thing that I'm doing. So, for instance, I've got headphones in and I'm listening to meditation music or something really calming, but they're sound cancelling headphones whilst I'm working. So the kids can play and I'm not getting irritated by them. And then
Mm.
also we're planning ahead for like who's in what room for calls. So they know they're not allowed to watch the TV right now because we're live here. After that, they know they can watch the TV because I can have my headphones in and I can concentrate on stuff. Then we've got lunch. So I think planning is really key, but
Yeah.
also planning in your dividers as well. So you've got things that are separating different moments. So when you're working, having headphones in, that's one idea. Another thing is, can you get out the house and go work in a coffee shop?
Yeah.
Um, so you've got a workspace away from home. That's really key. And I'm just talking about separating the chaos at home now. This isn't sort of like dealing with the drainage of people draining you. Um, but yeah, like having that separation. If you can't do that, is there an area within your home or within a room of your home that can be earmarked as your office space?
Yeah.
So when you're sat there, you're in the zone. You can't see the washing that needs doing. You can't see anything that needs going on. You can have a little signal to the kids so they know they can't come and interrupt you in this protected time, in this protected space. And really and truly, it is about having boundaries. And I know that's hard because if you've got younger ones that are like, but I really want to play and I really love you and I really want to be with you and I really want this and I really want that, you just have to be strong with your boundaries and be like, we will do those things after I'm finished working, and then give them a time or give them an end to that time so that they know when that is going to happen, so they've got that to look forward to. I think those are really key. It's not going to get rid of the chaos, but it's going to help manage it. And
Yeah.
then in terms of being drained by people, that just sounds like you need to inject a bit of me time in between things and not just be moving from hat to hat without a break, basically.
You just did an amazing job of answering that. Definitely. Yeah, like I'm not great with dividers. And I'm not great with planning stuff. I am very good at dealing with chaos, but then sometimes I think, well, I don't have chaos compared to Cordelia, so who
Mm,
knows? I've been testing that. However, I've got to read this comment.
go
Um,
on.
Drew Wakefield Pierce said, "My mum did that once." I assume she means locking
Yeah,
the.
should we lock in the door?
My mum did that once, and then we had fire and couldn't get in to tell her. This is
Oh my
spilling the
gosh.
tea. She commented underneath, "We were okay." I'm like, okay, good. And she's also shared the best way I deal with this issue is to plan as best I can, but to also know that when probably going to get interrupt I'm probably going to get interrupted when that happens and not get frustrated by it and accept it. That's a great comment, and thanks for dropping that in, Drew. What a great story. Yeah, that was an interesting one. I think I want to. Would you submit a
Uh,
spin
it's-
and tell us
yeah.
the details of that? Because I feel like I really want to share that story. That sounds really fun. Well, no, it doesn't sound horrific, but it definitely. I think it needs some
Sounds
airtime.
really fun. That just sound great.
I can say that because I am someone whose family has had a lot of fires. So it's like,
Yeah,
when you
okay.
go through
That's
it,
true.
we're notorious for fires, actually, to the point where one time I lived with my sister during COVID, which was a bit of a lifesaver. And she is quite she's very sensitive. She's a sensitive soul. She can get upset about things very easily. But I was grilling burgers and the burger fat spat onto the grill, and it was a flame grill, and it just set fire to the oven, and there was flames coming out of the grill, and the burgers were on fire, and my sister and me were, and her partner, who is so laid back, so chill, was like, oh shit. And Vanessa and me were like, it's fine, we've got this. Like, we were so chill because we were like, fires are our thing, like, we've got this. And she was so calm. She just got this flaming pan out, just dealt with it so calm. She is a hothead. Like, she can't deal with anything calmly. She's really like wild in that sense. But this time she was just like, yeah, I got this down. So yeah, we've had so many fires that we're now like chill with fires. We're good with them. If you ever have a fire, I'm the one to call. Don't call me, call the fire brigade. But
Yes, call the
yeah,
fire brigade. What do you want about?
yeah.
999 if you're in the
Yeah,
UK.
999. Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
there we go.
I actually once set fire to my oven on fireworks night. And I felt so bad because I was like, they're going to be so busy today, but now they have to come round and deal with my shit. But yeah, so that
Oh,
was one of the less dramatic ones. Anyway, so I want to hear about, tell me about your fire
I
story. That might
do
be.
you know what? You've just reminded me of something really stupid that I did once, like really stupid. The kids were really small. Marnie is my youngest, and well, at the moment he is baby on the way. Marnie
Oh,
is my youngest, and he must have been about 1 or 2. Like he was tiny. He was walking. I know that much. Then Syra, who's my eldest, she would have been about 5. And then Maria would have been about, I don't know, 3. And we were going to a friend's house for fireworks night, and I bought a box of fireworks. There's boxes that you set on fire and they go boo boo boo. Well, I bought one of those. Kids were really excited. We arrived, and I opened the car door, got my daughter out, and she just vomited on the pavement and
oh,
said she didn't feel very well.
Aria.
I was like, no, it was Syra. So I was like, uh-oh, okay. That means we probably shouldn't go to this party. We should probably go back home. So I put the kids back in the car and we now drove home. They were absolutely gutted. Like they were so heartbroken. Sarah was really angry with herself that she had been poorly and wasn't allowed to go to the fireworks. It was just so mean. And I felt so sorry for them. Like I really did. So I was like, it's okay, kids. It's going to be fine. We're going to do the fireworks anyway. It'll be fine. So what did I do? In my little garden, in my little garden, I put the box. I put the box. This is in my old house in Headley Way.
Yeah, okay.
I put the box in the garden, and I said, "Right, kids, this is what's going to happen. Yeah, I'm gonna run. I've never done this before, by the way. I've never lit a firework before. I'm on my own. It's just me and the kids. There's no one else there." I said, "Right, I'm going to go and light this firework box, right? Once I've lit it, I'm going to run in the house, shut the door, and Syra, you're going to turn the light off." And they were like, okay, we're ready, mum. And it's like, hold on to Marnie, make sure he doesn't go out. Right. So, anyway, so I go out, I run out, full of adrenaline. I light the fuse on the fireworks thing. I run in, I slam the door, Syra turns the lights off, and we both, and we both stand there in utter horror watching out the back window as this firework box goes absolutely mental. And there's bloody fireworks bouncing off the tree that overhangs the garden and bouncing off the fences. And like, and we were like, oh my God. And I'm thinking, damn it, oh my God. Luckily, it had been raining all day and everything was really wet. If that wasn't the case, I would probably set the entire garden on fire. And I remember Syra, who was always very grown up, when it stopped, we all kind of like took a breath and she said, Mummy, don't ever do that again.
Oh
So
my
yeah,
God.
oh, that was
That's
nuts.
the type of stuff the fire brigade are expected to be called out for. Because my kale sets fire.
It's a kale. You
Yeah,
set
I
fire to your
like kale. How impressive is that?
Yeah, mind you, it can get a bit crispy, and I can imagine kale can get quite flammable once it's
Yeah.
dehydrated.
Actually, what happened
Fair,
was
fair.
we had, which is ridiculous now I think about it, but we had bottles of the cooker where in my old house was where it is, but there was like a tiny, so there was a wall kind of there, like there was this kind of like enclave type thing, and there was
Mm,
cupboards there, and there was a wall here, but between the wall and the cooker was this world's smallest like ledge, and that's where we put the oils. Not a good idea. I mean, it was still like a an electric stove, but something had
mm.
happened. I think the heat had burst the oil bottle open, and then somehow, so the oil caught fire, but I was cooking kale, and then it just set fire. And I ended up I ran and I grabbed something, and it was actually my trousers. I grabbed washing and I put it over the top, and I was like, put the fire out. But I just remember every time I lifted the trousers up, it'd go. I was like, so I had to keep putting it down. I was like, I don't know what to do with this right now. So I had to ring the
Oh
fire.
my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I felt so bad. It was firework night.
Well,
And
I mean,
I lived at
that's
home.
what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to ring the fire brigade if you have a fire.
That's
They
true.
probably
But
told you did the right thing to ring
the,
them.
this was what, and I lived it with at home with my mum in my first house. She'd sold the house, and I was like, "Oh, here I go, setting fire to someone else's house. Doesn't even belong to her anymore."
Oh
Um,
no.
yeah, so that was good. But anyway, it was all solved. It was all fine, and
Well, there we have it.
we've got
Dramas. Fire dramas. Um,
oh
well,
yeah.
changing lanes. We have another question from Sarah Lewis, who asks, what is missing from your life and why?
Oh Lord.
What is missing from your life and why? I mean, immediately I could say wine is missing from my life because I'm pregnant.
Have
Is
you
that,
gone gin to wine? Because I was thinking gin for you, not me.
yeah, gin. I kind of got over gin after a while. So you know what? I don't actually drink very much though. Like we don't do. My partner doesn't drink much. We're not real. We don't really drink that much. But we've got
But I
we've
do
got
think it's
gin.
ironic because I
I've,
think the one time I'd want to drink would be when I was pregnant. Like that'd be the
yeah,
time.
it's
It's like the time
there
I'd
have
want,
been moments.
but like I feel like in my normal skin, right, in my
Mm,
normal body, not drinking's fine. But I imagine if I was pregnant, because I just imagine that as like a 7 month long, like when you're like, hormonal, 7 month, 9 month. I know what it's like to be hormonal, right? That happens, once a month for a week. I imagine it's just like that for 9 months. That's what I imagine.
mm.
And I'm like, I don't think I could cope. I think I'd have to get drunk. So I mean, probably shouldn't
You
say that.
mustn't do that. Mustn't do that.
Yeah, I know, but
Um,
yeah, so I can imagine that's like a real kick in the teeth.
I've had this before though. I find it really challenging because that there's really alcohol is really associated with social life in the UK.
Mm.
Like when you don't drink, you don't really socialize as much. I got, that's down to me and my mindset, I think. Like
Yeah,
I mean, I did go to the pub the other day and I had lunch and whatever, and that was lovely with a friend. But like to go out of an evening, oh, 'cause everyone's getting drunk and they're just so annoying.
yeah,
I'm just like, oh, there is also another thing, which is that I just want to be at home. Like I'll be out for a bit and I'm like, yeah, I want to go home now.
yeah,
Oh,
no,
I've had enough. Yeah. Um, but yeah, what's missing? I mean, that's not really missing from my life. That's a cop out.
oh
What's
God.
missing from my life? Probably, probably in like probably me time at the moment.
Hmm.
Like sauna,
Oh,
spa days, like
yeah, 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 yeah.
getting nails done. Like I'm just so busy and tired from being busy. So there's definitely like that self-nurturing, like, like my nails are naked. Like what is going on? I mean, you need some me time when you've got naked nails going on. So yeah, I would say that's probably mine. Just busy business mum.
Yeah. I think like Probably stability. I feel I am the most stable I've been, but at the same time, do you know what? There's a lot of uncertainty with what I'm doing. Like, where am I going to be? Like like where am I going to live? Where should, like, I've got a lot of, like, I don't really know. I feel very much like I'm at a crossroad in a sense. Like, I've
Mm.
lived in my flat for 4 years and I do love it, but I don't at the same time. But I don't know where else I'd want to live. And then I'm like, I want to live abroad, but then I don't want to leave everyone back home. And but where I live is really expensive as well. And yeah, it's like, you know, I don't I'm limited with choices here. So I feel very uncertain. And like, I also, I want to have a family and all the things. I just, yeah, I think it's a bit of, I want a crystal ball. That's what I want. Crystal ball. And I don't mean for like ever. I'm quite good with uncertainty,
Mm.
but I just want to see a little bit further, or have some options to see. I just want to clearly see what the options are for my next 5 years, and to be able to just assess them and go, that's the one. And I just kind of want a bit of a pathway on that. I feel a bit like yeah, I'm scrambling a little bit for a direction, and that's quite like destabilizing. But like,
Mm.
at the same time, it's weird because I also feel very happy with where my life is. That might be why. Because I'm like, oh, do you know what? I don't actually want my life to change. I think that's what it is. I think I've established it. I've worked it out. I really like my life, but I feel like I'm 34 now and I would like to have a family. So stuff has to change. That's basically where I'm at. Stuff has to change. But if it was up to me, I I don't think I'd change anything right now. I really, really like where I'm at. So do you know what? Probably more time to just enjoy my life as it is. That's what I want. I
Mm.
feel like I've got this time constraint to have a family. It's that real woman thing, isn't it? Like, we really do have to, you have to get your ducks in a row. Like, you
Mhm.
have to get everything sorted. And there's a real time pressure. And there's that, the clicking talk, what? Ticking clock. That thing,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thing. Um, so I really feel that. But this is probably the first time in my life for the last year, 2 years, where I felt really happy with my lot. Like, I feel so happy with my lot. I feel really happy with where I am. Like, I used to feel really inadequate about my level of success, or I don't know, whatever. I used to feel a lot of inadequacy. Now I'm like, oh man, life's great. Like, I feel really happy, but I feel like it's going to have to change. And I guess I feel like I have to trade something in, right? So I have to trade in. So I don't know if the trade-off's going to be worth it or is going to be good. Am I trading off something? Like, is it going to be good for me to pursue this path? Am I just going to, end up with something I don't want? Not that family's not what I want, but like, am I going to end up with the wrong person? Am I going to end up in the wrong house? Am I going to end up, and then also with a family, that's when it's a much more anchoring. I'm a free spirit. I can do what I want. So if I make a mistake as just me, I can rectify that. It's fine. It's no big deal. But if I have a family, it's like, well, can't really just uproot everything and whatever. So I think I actually, I don't know. Well, the answer is like, you can't have everything.
Clarity.
I'm missing everything, right? You can't have everything perfect. I am missing everything perfect.
Oh, it
Yeah.
sounds like there's a lot to unpack there, to be
Oh,
honest.
always
You
a
went
lot.
down lots of different roads there and then turned back round and then tried another one. I hear that. This sounds like a really stressful place to be. It also sounds like a really, just to answer like what's on the flip side, it sounds like a really awesome place to be as well, in the same sense that
Right?
you're not a prisoner to working for someone and you're in a job that you're unhappy about.
Yeah.
You're not, it's almost like your problem is that there's the
Well,
world is your oyster,
yeah.
and you could do, it's just not knowing what to do or where to start with or knowing what necessarily you want. It's
Well,
actually quite a good problem to have, but it's also probably very disconcerting.
it's
And I
not
hear you with the
impossible.
ticking time clock thing is not
That's
is not
it. I think I want more. I want more time in this place I'm in right now.
Yeah.
Like I want 5 years where I am right now, but I don't
Do you feel like
feel.
you're not able to enjoy it because of that ticking time clock? Like
Oh,
there's,
I'm not able to enjoy it. It's like I'm not allowed to. I'm not able to stay here.
yeah,
I'm
okay.
pressure to leave here, and I'm like, I like this place, man. Like I'm happy. I'm happy in this place. But it's like, look, it's like basically, I feel like I've got these two things, right? I can stay here forever or leave. Like I haven't got I don't get both, right? Like
Mhm.
I can have this forever because of that clock, because of the ticking clock. I have to stay here forever or leave now. Like I don't get this like 5 year window of like enjoying the place that I'm in right now, because then it will be too late. That's what I feel. So it's like, okay, well now I've got to trade in this great life that I've got for this alternative, which is just unknown. Like it could be even better. It could be amazing, or I don't. It's not about the family element. It's about the circumstances around that. Will my circumstances be what I want them to be? And if they're not, then
Mm.
it's really hard having a family. Whereas if and my circumstances are what they want them to be, but if they weren't where I'm at right now, it's easy for me to change. Actually, if my circumstances what weren't great right now, it'd probably be easier for me to choose a different path. So my problem is that life's too great.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Oh,
aren't you lucky
oh,
bean?
I know how horrible. So yeah, I want
How
time.
to
I want time.
Struth. How terrible.
I
No,
know.
but yeah,
I
it
want
is
more
a
time.
small world problem, really. But first world problem, small world problem. I don't know what that phrase
It's,
is.
I don't think it's either, but small world problem. Yeah, it's a luxury problem.
It's yeah. It's not a it's not a bad problem to have in the grand scheme of things, but it's disconcerting. I hear that.
Yeah. So I
Well,
want
thank
more.
you very much for sharing how you feel. And if anyone's got any 2 cents for Caroline, how she could come up with the master plan, the plan of all plans, or
Wow.
how she could flow downstream happily to the place of dreams.
Oh,
I think
sliding doors.
sliding doors.
Yeah. Did you ever watch that? No, it wasn't Gwen
It
Stefani.
was a
Glenn.
film, wasn't it?
Who? Gwyneth Paltrow. She did this
Hmm.
thing, sliding doors. On one hand, her life existed like this, and it also existed like this. And there was this moment where time broke, and you could kind of see both her pathways. But they both. I won't ruin it in case anyone watches it. It's very interesting though.
Oh, are you stopping there?
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
okay.
I don't want to do a
I thought,
spoiler,
I thought you were going
but
to give us at least a watered down version of the truth bomb you were about to drop.
yeah, I
Um,
was actually, although I realized I was going to say the ending, and as I was saying, I was like, actually, that's not how it ends. I was going to say the ending, which doesn't even end like that.
my
I was
dad hates people that says the endings of films. He would be your
kind of
number one enemy, number one.
my
Okay.
sister once. I just have to tell this little anecdote. I like the little
Mm.
anecdote tangent. I I'm not a big reader. I love audiobooks. I love I love learning. But I like consuming information, but audibly. And that wasn't really a thing when I was young. So I struggled to read as a kid. Anyway, I finally started like reading, and I was reading this book, which was like a Martina Cole book, like this thick. And I was like, wow, this is amazing that I can do this. And my sister was an absolute bookworm. And I remember once I'm like halfway through it, and I'm like, wow, I'm doing this. And she walks in one day to my room. She goes, Mickey dies. I'm like, she completely just ruined this book for me. I was like, why did you do that? Completely
That's
ruined it.
so mean.
Such a bitch.
So our kids do that all the time, though. Like my kids do that. We'll be watching a film. Oh, here she is.
No, mine
Maria's just.
did it deliberately.
Maria does it. We'll be watching a film. She'll be. Not so much now. What do you want? Your iPod. There you go. She'll be watching a film and she'll be like, "Oh, yeah, this is going to happen in a minute. That's going to happen. Oh, this bit's going." And someone like, I don't know. There's like this air of like importance or authority or this like, oh yeah, I know the answer to that question. It's like when you put your hand up in class, you're like, I know this one. I know this
Yeah, like
one.
validating to know that you're good at it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know that. You know you've got that knowledge already. Actually. She doesn't do it so much anymore. She used to do it all the time. It's really just drove me crazy. She didn't do it the other day when we watched Wicked, which was awful. I only watched half of it.
It-
Um,
I loved Wicked. I watched it twice in the cinema. I thought it was amazing. That was
is
me.
anybody with me? Is anybody with me? Anybody watching this has seen Wicked and thought it was just
And we said you
trash?
like musicals, don't you?
I love musicals.
I
I
don't
went
like
to see
music.
Lion King.
I don't like
Yeah.
music, and I loved Wicked. I remember even thinking, I was like, I was a bit nervous because it's like 3 hours long, and I was like, oh God, this is gonna be a nightmare. And the first few minutes, I was like, no, I already regret signing up to this. And at the end, I was like, it could have been longer. I think I could have kept going. I could have kept going. It
The music was awful though. I just thought it was just like I
was
was like,
amazing.
thank God my kids don't want to listen to this soundtrack. Like Encanto, I'm there for it. I am
Drew,
there for it, Bruno.
Drew loves Wicked.
Yeah,
He's
okay.
in my court.
Yeah, Drew's on Team Caroline. I'd love to know, are you on Team Caroline or Team Cordelia? Do you love or hate
Really?
Wicked?
Is Team Wicked or not?
Team Wicked or Team
I did. I was
something?
obsessed. I was Wicked. I had an obsession with Wicked like I did with air fryers.
You've been
Love it.
telling everyone about it.
Oh yeah.
Caroline does this thing where she gets introduced to something new in her life. It could be the remarkable. It could be an air fryer. It could be a bloody a
Wicked.
gym membership. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's giving her a good dose of like dopamine because she's discovered something new and it's great, she is selling that thing to all her friends and family. The amount of things I have bought because you have sold me into it. The
And you,
latest one
yeah.
is the carnivore diet, but I was unsaleable to that one.
Yeah, you
Uh,
were unsaleable. I still, it's still life changing for me. I'm still big on it. And I love the air fryer still. And love
yeah,
Wicked. Like these things, I'm not flippant about it. If I love it, I stay loving it, I think. Except I did still love the gym membership. I could not. She says gym membership because I did sell her into a gym membership, even though she's like 100 miles away from me. It wasn't even the same gym as mine. It was
it was
just the same.
David Lloyd, darling, wasn't it? We were David Lloyding for a while, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
I just
anyway, changing gears, final question, and it's a juicy one, so I think we should get into it. Um, okay, we might need to read it a couple of times. Is it reasonable to expect that I can fly solo, setting up and sustaining an online coaching or consultation service? If not, why not? So that's part one of the question. Is it reasonable to expect that I can fly solo setting up an online coaching or consultation service? Yeah, it's completely
I,
reasonable. Is my
I
first thing.
assume I assume that means without a coach or a consultant. Because if it's meaning like just without people, then no, you need people in your life in order to
Yeah.
succeed.
Yeah, you can't
Um,
do anything on your own. That's
yeah,
true.
like, and really, quite honestly, you're at the bare minimum, you are well positioned in a community, especially if that
Mm.
community, if there's a gap in the community for what your service offers, right? So I don't know what the consultancy would be around, but if it's a value to if it's a value to a community, like most people in that community, let's say everyone is a group of tech startups in this community. Well, they're all going to need copywriters, most likely. I always try and do like tech versus creativity because like there seems to be like an obvious gap, like, or a general gap.
Not
So you
always, but a lot of the time,
a
yeah. There are
general.
exceptions to that rule. Before you keyboard warriors get on and be like, I'm techie and creative, thank you very
I
much. You
want the
might
key.
be. You might be.
Keep us involved. Get
Oh
involved.
yeah.
We want you to. We
Come
want.
on, you keyboard warriors.
Go on.
Yeah, okay. All
So
right.
yeah,
But that's going to lead into the second part, which is if time allows today, can you succinctly run us through the setup stages in order of importance?
oh, okay. Order of it's quite simple. Get clients.
Yeah.
There's no. You don't even need to set up really to get
Yeah.
clients.
No.
If you have got a service and you talk about coaching and consulting, you're set up. You've got an expertise, and if you've got a community as well, or people that like where there's demand, like that's the two fundamentals. You don't need a
Mm.
website. You don't need all the bells and whistles. You need sales.
Yeah, do not need a website. For God's sake, don't build a website. But don't pay anyone over £1,000 to build you a website, mainly because what you put on that website at the beginning is not going to be what you want on that website, even 6 months down the road. You are going to change your messaging as you work with real people. It's going to
Mm.
happen.
So you need to get clients, and without, obviously we have strategies for that. But without let's take that away. Um, it's just getting involved with people and building a reputation as a problem solver. Like, you just need to find a group of people, build a reputation as a problem solver, i.e. answering questions, sharing value, showing that you have value in the area that you're of value, and then putting offers together and promote and letting people know quite clearly that you do what you do, and make offers that are valuable, that they're like, yeah, I want that, and that's a crazy offer that I'm prepared to, but like, get involved with. I think that's it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it really doesn't have to be complicated. So,
Creating, I would say it's creating a minimum viable product. So put together a product or package that is, you do not need a web page for it. You do not need, um, you don't need anything set up for it. You just need to know what it is, and you need to be able to explain what it is, and you need to be able to convey the value of what it is to someone. Um, so that's in terms of the product, and then you need to test whether it sells. And the way you do that is to talk to people. Your first clients will be people you know. It will be referrals from people that know what you're doing and are recommending you to someone that needs help with that. Or it will be literally people that you know, like your friends, or people that you've met in communities that you've been a part of. And
I
then I
also
would say the next thing is start getting into the right circles, start getting into communities and networks of people that are not just your ideal clients, but also in similar industries to you too, so that you can make business friends and have people to collaborate with.
and actually, another way to look at this is to find a gap. Like, rather than thinking about what service you would do because you're good at that,
Mhm.
go somewhere where there's a, like, if you join a community or join like, I think, my experience is I wanted to start an online business, and
Mhm.
so I joined a program which was teaching online business skills, and I noted, and this community was, there was 3,000 plus people in this community, and I noticed that there was a huge gap in copywriting, and pretty much everyone in that community was creating YouTube ads. That was the standard thing that we were taught, as create YouTube ads to funnel people into an email list, sell an email list. And it started with YouTube ads. So there's a lot of training on the technical side of a YouTube ad, how to build a funnel, how to track links, how to, it was all about that actual thing of building that funnel. And I really struggled with the tech side of things and that, but I my metrics on my ads were very good straight away. They were very, very competitive because I was quite good at that. Now we say it's copywriting, but I didn't really call it that at the time. It was just ad scripting. And then I started helping people scripting ads, and then I started getting results for people, and that was like
Mhm.
I was giving that away for free. I was just kind of doing these free calls, and then I got a reputation as a copywriting coach type thing. And I had, my first clients were people that reached out to me from this community and said, I really want to work with you to script an ad, like, properly. Like, I want a proper ad, not just like, a bit of support. I want a real ad that's relevant to me. Anyway, so that's how my consultancy started kicking off, really, was word of mouth from this community. But I found a gap first. So I was in this community, I saw where the problem was, and then, I didn't need anything set up. But luckily for me, I already had learned funnel skills. Um, so, I was able to sort of adapt it and do email marketing as a result of that as well, which was great, as it built. But that that I would say requires technical support at the very least. So I went, you could say I did it the wrong way around, but it really set me up to learn those skills first. Like, learning those funnel skills first was really, really valuable to me in later on. But to begin with, it wasn't that valuable to me in technically. It wasn't. And by being in that community, I then also realized a gap, and I had people wanting to work with me. And then I had those funnel skills to eventually start funneling people into an email list. And then I have this email list which has its own value, and then you start promoting to them, etc. So, but I'd learned those funnel skills from experts. I don't think I could have ever figured that out just by myself. Like,
Yeah.
I could.
Previously to that, I actually tried building a website and it took me like 3 months and then I gave up,
Yeah.
like genuinely. And it wasn't just that, that community was amazing because I was in the same community as Caroline. It's how we met. That community was amazing because we ended up making friends with people that could like help us learn stuff too. So it
Mm.
wasn't just that we had like mentors and training, it was also that we had business friends that were like, my first website that was actually functioning because I needed a website in order to be compliant with Google Ads, um, was actually a clone of a friend's website who'd already
Yeah.
built theirs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And at that stage, it's all about like you could just customize, right? So
Yeah.
it's a lot simpler when you know people who know shortcuts. So when the
Mm.
technical stuff gets involved, yes, you 100% need support. You could figure it out by yourself, but you'll be wasting a lot of time, and you probably won't learn it to the standard. You'll be learning the very basics, but there'll be
Mhm.
people that can do it a lot better than you. So when it gets to like, I think that's the point though. When with the funnel, that's about scaling, that's about automation, that's about like longevity, it's about growth. And we started off learning that, which is great, which was very useful. But the client, in terms of getting clients for our consulting businesses, that happened from building relationships, from being in communities, from identifying gaps, from showing up and giving value. And that required zero setup. So it
Yeah.
depends. There's twofold. You need people regardless, but as a consultant, you do not need someone holding your hand necessarily to get clients. But you need to find something that where there's supply and demand. You need to supply something that's in demand. Simple.
Yes.
That's basically that is the equation. You need to supply something that's in demand. You can't just make up something that you know you're skilled at and that you think people might want. And even if you do know that, where are those people? You need to be around them. That's it. That's what you do. Then if you want to build a proper business, a scalable business, an automated business, I think you would be really doing yourself an injustice if you were not to get help with that. Like Cordelia said, she spent 3 months building a website. How much is 3 months of your time worth?
To be honest, I actually then went on after later down the road, once I'd learned how to do that, I actually was on a business where I was building websites for people for like a product I was selling. And I built loads. I think learning these skills, people really don't get this. Like I'm always repeating myself with this all the time. It's like when you're starting a business, you are not just starting a business, you are also getting your business and your marketing education and you're
Mm,
learning on the job. You're basically doing an apprenticeship. Like
yeah.
it's flipping a lot to learn. And it's not like whether you're succeeding is not measured by whether you're converting just yet. It's measured by the fact that you're learning and you're moving forwards and you're moving in the right direction. It could be measured by your followers increasing. It could be measured by you having really key bits of infrastructure set up, like an email marketing list, or you getting your first leads onto that list. It could be measured by you having people around you that you know in business and getting to have conversations with other business owners that are doing similar things to you. That those conversations are feeding into your knowledge, and they're also giving you opportunities that you can't even predict. Like there are so many things happening in those early stages that everyone just poo-poos and just ignores and just be like, oh, just focus on the money, just focus on the clients. Yeah, but if I'm not producing revenue, then I'm not running a business. It's like, give yourself a break. Give
Mm.
yourself a break and
Yeah,
give
very
yourself some grace.
serious.
Like you are learning that this is a flipping topic in university, for God's sake. You can get a degree on this kind of stuff. Like this is a big topic.
I
You're
often
getting that education.
I feel like we've now got a master's in business. Like that's what I feel like. But
Mhm.
like quite honestly, I think, it's trial by fire. Like
Yeah.
I think like, you know, I it's there's so much more to learn than I had ever anticipated. And you think as well,
Mm.
you're just getting started in business. like, yeah, do give yourself a break, because it's actually a really big subject. It's a really big subject to learn. Like, I've also seen things like, you can have like success, really, like you can land on something really, really good and it can blow up. But that's maybe a trend, or there's something in the market that makes it feasible for the time being, but it could, it doesn't necessarily determine success forever. That's where, like, there are some break out the door success stories, but for long-term success, that really takes learning. But you need to learn business. Like, you need to learn business. That takes time, I think. So if you're new in business, yeah, give yourself a break. Like, I know someone, for instance, who's starting up a new business, but they have been like a CFO of a multi-million pound business for years. So I expect they're going to get successful pretty quick, but they've also been doing it for 20 years. They've been literally in business for 20 years, not as an employee.
Mm.
They've been in business for 20 years. So they're going to have that experience, but they didn't start out that way. They started out, as an accountant, actually, trying to get clients, trying to, and then they got into big, anyway, it doesn't matter. But the fact of the matter is like, yeah, you can't really gauge your success straight away on sales. And that's actually quite hard to hear. Um,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
true. It's not always the most important metric. It
yeah.
doesn't always mean sometimes you can get a sale and it can be an absolute fluke. Like,
Mm,
it's not actually a very good way to measure your progress. We've been talking about this in the Rebels Business Tribe this week because I've just given them a new tool that I've created called the Playbook, which enables our clients to track all their sales strategies and track the results from their sales strategies and make those sales strategies repeatable, and also continue to refine and improve them as they go. And one of the things that I've been talking to them about is that sales, like number of clients in, is not the metric we are measuring here to know if those sales strategies are effective or not. It's not the strategy's responsibility if the person you were on a call with didn't have the financial resources to buy the program, even if they wanted it. It's not the strategy's responsibility that your sales skills need work. Right? It's not the strategy's fault. The strategy is there to get calls booked. And I think I use that analogy because, or that example, because there are so many different areas in business and you will measure them with different metrics. It's not all measured by did I get clients? It can be measured just by you moving forwards, but there are so many different areas you can move forwards in, where you can measure that progress. So yeah, that's the ultimate aim, but it's
that's
not
where
it's
you
not the
really want to
measure.
get to, is you want to be able to go, that is the ideal first thing to get to. And also, you don't need tech setup, but you do need a way to track and to repeat. But you need to be able to go, okay, when I do these specific actions, it results in a client, and it's reliable, like, 60% of the time. That's what you kind of want. Like, that would be an amazing thing. You go, and if that process also takes you a couple, like 2 weeks, right? Like you go, I do these steps, and then I pretty much always get a client. Okay, so then I
Mhm.
go, then you go, because then you can start planning, you can start like reverse engineering, and you can also start just developing scale. But that's where you really want to get to. Okay, so as an example, when I go to networking events, and it's the networking event for these kinds of people, and I say this particular pitch, I get this many calls booked, and out of that many calls booked, I get one person always buying most of the time. Right. So then there's those 6 things. So you've got to find those right networking events. You've got to say the right thing. You've got to get people get booking calls, attending those calls, and then you've got to sell to them. So you master that process. That really takes time and effort on your part, but that's just one process that you could do. You can also go, every time I post on social media this thing, I also get sales calls booked. I also have this many people show up. I also have this many, and then I get a client. So each of those processes, from turning up to a networking event to getting the payment through the door, that will take me a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. Putting this thing on social media to getting that invoice paid takes me about 2 weeks. Okay, so now I've got these things that I know works pretty much all the time, and that could take you 3 months to refine. Maybe you could land on a sale in the week, but you won't know if it's going to be if it's reliable as much as you need it, unless you do it multiple times.
Mhm.
And because you need to go, okay, so it worked this time. Will it work again next time? Will it work again next time? If you get it to work 4 times, and you can kind of guarantee, like, okay, this is pretty reliable. That's one thing done. So then you just need to have, like, so that's 4 weeks of the year, or you could be even more than that. But then you just need a few more as well. That's pretty much like the gist of success in clients. Like, that's what you really want to aim
Mhm.
for. A reliable process that results in a client almost every time you do it, or enough times you do it that it's worth your while.
I've got this culminated into 5 steps for everyone, just to make everything that we've said really tangible, and easy for you to action. Because it's difficult, isn't it? There's so many different areas, there's so many different things you can focus on. You won't sit there and be like, "That's all very well, Cordelia and Caroline, but what should I do next?" So, yeah, I've got these 5 steps here. I'll go through them, and it's essentially just summarizing everything that we've said.
Love
Step
that.
one is to create a simple offer that solves a specific problem. So it's not about going out and creating pages, getting business cards set up, creating websites, creating bloody like flyers that you're going to leave. Just getting clear on what your offer is, a simple offer that solves a specific problem. Step two, test your offer by talking to potential clients. So you want to start conversations, ask questions, and get feedback from real people. And you're going to do that by going to networking events, by joining a community, or being a part of a business community, or being a part of a community of people that have the right kind of clients for what it is that you're doing in your coaching or consulting business. Step number three, get visible in the right places and build your network. So, you've got that simple offer, and you're testing that offer. That's step one and step two. And you're getting that feedback. And maybe you're even getting clients. That's great. But you've got to now, the next thing is you've got to continue to expand your reach, and know more people, and make more friends, and be connected to more people. So you want to be focusing on your visibility, getting in the right places, getting in the right circles, making friends with the right people. And again, this is networking events. It's also business conferences, but it's also Facebook groups, online spaces where your clients already are, and also continuing to make friends with people that are in similar industries with you. Really, really key. Number four, establish authority by providing value without giving away the farm. AI has written this, summarizing everything that we've said, but I don't know what it means about giving away the farm. That sounds a bit weird thing to say. But basically, you want to be seen as the go-to expert in your field. And so, for instance, you're all rebels, right? Watching this, you're in the Rebellious Business Network. One of the things that you can have 3,600 members in there. Get in there and share things with people in that community that are going to be helpful and are going to demonstrate your knowledge and your expertise. Be like Maria, sharing what's going to happen next in the film. Put your hand up, like, share what is going to happen, by sorry, build relationships by sharing insights, tips, value, on stuff related to what it is that you do. And as Caroline mentioned, like, looking for those gaps. Like, are you seeing people ask questions? Are you seeing a gap in training that's being offered? Or are you seeing a gap in things that are being talked about where you can add some value? Like, have a look at that. Like, look out for those gaps. It's really, really important, because you'll build such great authority by doing that. And finally, number five, prioritize getting clients over complicating your business. You don't need that perfect website set up. You don't need to focus on email funnels and everything before you've even got started. What you need is to build relationships with people. You need to have conversations with people about what it is that you do. You need to be solving problems for people, and you need to be offering your service to them. And you need to be getting those first clients in. There's no point spending ages polishing something that isn't going to convert, aka polishing a turd. I remember I was on a consulting call with someone once, and they had spent 2 years building a mystery books website. And this website was going to be an affiliate marketing website promoting mystery books. And every single mystery book in the world was listed on this bloody website. And every single listing was linked back to Amazon, where they could then go and purchase the book, so that this person who set this website up would get an affiliate commission. 2 years he spent building that. is just not viable. Like, why would that work? Like, it's not going to bring in much money. The commissions are so small. If you want a mystery book, you just go to Amazon. Like, you're going to have to work really, really hard to get that site visible. And he ended up just quitting it and not doing it because it just was too impossible to turn into a money producing thing. Test things first, see if they convert, see if they work, and then as an optimization piece, build your website, get some
Mm.
business cards printed, get some stands to go to trade shows or whatever it is that you want to do, write a book, do all those things. But you got to test that you're going to actually convert first, I would say. Anything you'd add to those steps, Caroline?
Negative. I think that's brilliant. Gosh, you're so good at giving advice, Cordelia.
Thank you very much,
You're welcome.
Caroline. Well, there we go. There we have it. Another episode of the Rebellious Business Show done. We would love to hear from you. Please share your questions, stories, dilemmas, thoughts, embarrassing moments, nosy questions, awkward questions, anything you like on the Spill It link that we have dropped in the chat and also in the description. I've seen that we've had a few questions come in whilst we've been live, which is great. I look forward to having a little dig through those. Just tune in next week, Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. to see if we decide to run with it. But other than that, there we are. Rebellious Business Show done. Caroline, over to you.
Romeo done.
Romeo done. Okay, ciao.
Ciao.